Hi friends and welcome. I'm Anna Helman. If you are hoarding papers in your closet, you've collected a few more than you've been able to use so far. Today, you're going to love today's tutorial. Today I'm going to share 4 amazing card designs for using up some of those beautiful papers in your collection. They're super simple and they're going to help you use up some of those amazing papers that you've collected that you know you want to use. You know you want to cut them up and share how amazing they are with other people. Cutting paper, the difficulty in cutting paper, I know that's a thing. We're going to cut those papers. We're going to use them for some beautiful cards. Let's get started. So I love this time of year. This is the time of year we have tons of new products coming out. We're going to use this new product suite. I love the papers in these, so this is what I decided to use for the cards that we're going to create. It's called Florals in Bloom. That's the name of the suite. It actually has 2 coordinating stamp and die sets. You're going to see them on here as we look at some really wonderful ways to use up your designer paper packs. Okay, here's that other stamp set. You're going to see these big words. I love these big words. There's a coordinating dies that create those as well. You'll see them as we go along here. So card idea number 1 to use up those amazing papers in your collection is right here. I have a card base. Instead of being folded, it is flat. This measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. If you want these dimensions, I always have still photos of my projects on my website. So in the video description below, there's always a link that goes straight to my website where you'll see photos of that day's projects. In addition, if you want all of today's measurements, use that link down there, go to my website. They will all be right there. 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This is your folded piece of beautiful designer paper that you don't want sitting in your closet anymore. You want to share this with someone you love. This piece right here measures 5 1/4 tall by 8 wide. You're going to fold that in half at the 4-inch mark. Super, super simple. It's a great way to use up your designer paper. So this is all you do. You attach this to that flat card base. You decorate it how you want. You can see I have decorated this with the Sweet Blooms die set to create this word bloom. And then there's all these different stamps to pair with it. You'll see several ways that I've used them. So bloom where you're planted. And on the inside is stamped that nice little flower. And I left the inside blank. Let's look at our second one. Very, very similar with an extra little fold. So we have an extra little bump out. So we have a Z fold that comes out of here. And I just love this. I'm looking at these cards like, why don't I make cards with a little bit different folds more often, because I love them. So for this one, that base is still 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This piece right here is 5 1/4 tall, like the last one, 12 inches wide. You're going to score it at 4 inches and 8 inches. Now, depending on which way you fold it, it can open to the left, it can open to the right. You can decorate it how you want. You see I use that same die set again, but this time I created the word lovely. The first one had the word bloom, have a lovely day, and then I did a little stamping on the inside. Super fun and cheerful. You're gonna see here, actually, talking about all the new products. We have lots of new products. You're gonna see lots of new things in my upcoming tutorials. These are some fun new colors. Timid Tiger, Duckling, oh shoot, something Duckling. I gotta learn these new names, but it's always fun to have new colors in our collection, right? This one right here, I have a piece of 8 1/2 by 11 paper. You could do this with cardstock, but I love this with the designer paper, and I think you're gonna love it too here in a second. So we'll show you what we're gonna do. This doesn't take long to come together, and you'll see what this creates. So we're gonna fold this in half. You can score this if you want to, but you don't have to. Open it up, fold it the other way. So we do it hot dog style first. We'll do it hamburger style second. Anytime I can get those words in, I mean, it just makes it more fun, right? So now I encourage you, if you're doing this technique, to use non-directional paper. So there's no up or down. Now this has an up. A lot of times floral paper doesn't. This floral paper just happens to have an up. After I had already decided to use this, I was like, okay, I'll stick with it. So I'll show you, if you're going to use directional paper, how to do it. So I have the top of my paper at the bottom at the moment, and I cut here, this section right here, okay? And now I'm going to flip this over to the back. So what I want to be on the front, it's flipped over to the back, so it's bottom, top side down, and the up direction is down here at the bottom. So, okay, this is why I encourage you to use non-directional paper, right? Okay, now we're going to make 2 quick folds, super easy. This first one at the bottom, we're going to fold it up until the side matches up with the side, okay? Side matches up with the side, you got that, I can tell. Okay, up here, we are not folding all the way to the score line. The score line is right there at the edge of my bone folder so that you can see. I am going to score near the edge of near the score line, but not all the way to it. So you can make this more precise if you want. It doesn't have to be. You're going to see this comes together perfectly. So now here's where the magic comes together. We're going to fold it. So fold up, fold over, fold this bottom one up on top. And you're like, oh, well, what do we have here? What have we created right here? We need to put a little bit of adhesive in a couple of spots. You'll see as you do this, that back flap you need to attach together, and then a little bit on this side and a little bit on this side. You can use tape if you want. If you use tape, just keep it nice and close to the edge, because we created some pockets here and we want to have some space to insert what we are going to insert. Now, I have decorated this with both of these stamp sets, both the pretty florals and the sweet blooms, and created these gorgeous flowers. I am such a fan of these little sets of 3 flowers. It's a little bit hard to see on this stamp set what they do, but 2-step stamps. So you stamp the background, you stamp the detail, and then the dies cut all 3 of these out at the same time. This one I did have to do one at a time, but there's several sets. These both cut all 3 at the same time. It's fantastic. I created this to go right here. I don't want to glue it shut. That's why, oh, I remember. This is how I designed it. So the bloom would go at an angle. Do you ever have brain farts after you intend to do something one way and then you forget and you do it a different way? And then, so we have these 2 pockets. We have one here. My glue isn't quite dry yet. One here and one here. And I didn't stamp any greetings on these insert cards, but you can if you want to. I just stamped some decorative flowers right now. Insert your cards in here, and you have a super fun pocket card that is a great way to use up a whole 8.5 by 11 piece of that designer paper. Okay, that was card idea number 3. Here is card idea number 4. Sometimes things just pop into my head. This was one of those that just popped into my head. I was like, oh, that would be a really fun way to use some designer paper. Let's do that. So as I was creating this, I had no idea what it was for, who it was for. As I was working on it, it came together that we should make this for Dad. And what it does, it's a big accordion fold card that opens up. And what I decided we were going to do was write little messages of reasons we love Dad. We haven't finished it yet, but it started. So these little mini cards are so fun. You can do these. These are a great size for like shower gifts, something small you're going to hand to someone in person, or you can mail these, but you would want to put it in a larger envelope. But let me show you how to create this fun accordion fold. I will mention while I'm talking about it, I created these with I love this coordinating stamp and punch set. It is called, let's see, To the Point Label Punch and the Bright Borders coordinating die set. I'll have links to all these products in the video description below if you want to take a look at them. But here is how I created that accordion fold. The base of my card measured 3 by 3 inches. These pieces of designer paper measure 2 3/4 inches tall, 12 inches wide. I scored them at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4, and 11, which is going to give you a fold like this with a little flap on the end. So what you're going to do, you'll have 2 of these. You're going to attach the second one right here to this fold. And then your second one is going to have that little flap on the end. What you're going to do is attach that little flap here to the back corner of your card. And then you can attach a mat over top that measures 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. At that point, you can decorate these however you want. I thought these To the Point, that label punch with the bright border set, I thought these were perfect to make a little tag that we could write on. And then the one for the front, I pulled these greetings from the He's the Greatest and She's the Greatest stamp sets that I have been using an absolute ton to personalize cards for men and women. So they say things like mom and mama and nana and papa and aunt and uncle and all these things. I love all the greetings and those to personalize cards. So that is card number 4. So here we have 4 really fun ways to use up those papers in your collection so we don't have to be hoarding anymore. We know all the things in life have gotten more expensive. We want to use a lot of those things we have already collected. This is a great way to do that. So let's chat about life. What's going on around here? It's spring. It's planting season. We have a million things going on. It feels like usually this time of year, Farmer Matt gets all... A lot of farmers get stressed out and grumpy. He gets stressed out, but it's all in his head. And usually he's not grumpy on the outside. And we're just here to try and support him and get all the crops planted and everything. In my little world this time of year, what am I doing? I'm planting my crops. I'm planting my farm, which is my little garden in the backyard, which isn't very small, but it's still small compared to Farmer Matt's garden. But I'm trying a new adventure this year with the garden, so I thought I would share a little bit about it. The last few years, I've been experimenting with ways to not have to pull as many weeds. Ain't nobody got time to pull all the weeds in the garden, right? Nobody likes weeds. Nobody wants to do that part. We want to plant them and harvest and cook and do. That's the fun part. We don't like the weeds. So several years ago, I had tried just putting bunch of straw down around. I did it around my tomatoes and around my peppers. And actually, I think the reason I started doing it is because when it rains or you irrigate, you water the garden, however the water comes down. If the soil splashes up onto the leaves, then that spreads disease to the plants. And historically, I've had lots of issues with my tomatoes not turning out because they end up with, and my peppers actually, they end up with all kinds of diseases and half of them rot. And, you know, nobody wants to garden that way. We want to garden the fun way where we get lots of healthy things we can cook with and eat. So anyway, I think that's the reason I started putting straw down between the plants several years ago. The last few years it's kind of expanded, and then I put more down like between the rows. And then last year I did it in most of the garden after I had planted, put down some straw. I've been learning a lot of things. I have to put down the straw a lot thicker than I thought. But anyway, so my new adventure for this year is we are officially no-tilling the garden. No-tilling. I'm not working up the soil at all. I have put down a layer of straw over the entire garden. I started this last fall. And then early spring, I put on some more to try to prevent the weeds from coming up. Some weeds did come up, dandelions from last year. Some of the perennial weeds were coming back, so I'm having to like reach under the straw and get some of those out. But so I'm going to dig into for my plants that are transplants, my tomatoes, my peppers, my seedlings that have been growing in my basement for a couple of months now. just digging a little hole amidst the mulch, planting them. And then with my seeds, when I wanted to start doing this, I read about it. There's a book about no-till gardening or raised, I don't know. There's all these claims out there about people who swear no weeding in your garden. All you have to do is put down 6 inches of mulch across your garden. I'm like, 6 inches of mulch? That sounds like more work than just weeding my garden. Anyway, we're trying this year, but when I start thinking about it, I'm like, well, how do I plant my seeds? I don't know how to plant the seeds, and if you have a big layer of mulch all across your garden, right? So anyway, I have this little garden seeder that my mom used to use, and she gave me since she doesn't garden anymore. But you push the thing and it makes the little, is the furrow the right word? I'm not sure. It makes the little groove, drops the seeds in, and then the little chain comes along behind it and covers up the row for you. So anyway, I'm going to use that to make my little furrow, plant the seeds if I need to plant them with that, or if I need to drop them in by hand, I'll do it that way. So this is my new adventure. I am really, really hoping that it saves time in weeding. I've already noticed, let's see, I've been doing all these things. I've been saving a lot of my seeds to try to just, take my crop from this year, save my seeds, replant for next year, just be more sustainable. I like to plant a lot of different things, so buying all the seeds that I would need every year would cost a lot of money. So I'm, trying to save money. And anyway, so I was planting some of last year's onions. Onions are a biennial. They don't flower and seed until the second year. I think I could leave them in the ground over the winter, but anyway, I just keep experimenting with new things and learning new things, and we go from there. But anyway, so I'm planting some of last year's onions. I dug into that soil and I looked at it, and it looked like soil from a woods. Like that white, I don't know, fungus growth, roots, things down in there. And I'm just like, oh, this soil looks so happy and healthy. And I hope it's going to be really good for my garden. I hope I can keep the weeds down and I can do more of the fun stuff and less of the weed pulling this year. I spent way too much time pulling weeds last year. So anyway, it's my new adventure. Wish me luck. If you have any experience with this, anything you want to share, gardening or raising your own food, I love to see your comments in the video description below. A lot of times I don't have time to reply to all of them, but I do really appreciate when you comment, and it also helps other people find these videos as well. So my new adventure for this year, I always have new adventures, right? It's fun we don't want to get bored and stop learning things in life. So try new things in your crafting, plant a garden or plant a tomato plant on your patio or whatever. Try something new this year. I appreciate you watching along. Thanks so much for being here, friends. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you'll be back here again when I'll be here to help you hand make with love.